Have you ever tried to lift someone out of their darkness, only to watch them sink deeper, resisting every bit of light you offer? What if the people you're trying to help are quietly anchored to their own suffering, so much so that they can't even see your efforts as love? And what if the very act of helping becomes the chain that holds you back, not them? As compassionate souls, we often carry the desire to make the world a little lighter, a little better. Yet, there are times when even your warmest intentions bounce off cold, closed hearts. Why does that happen? Why is it that some people, no matter how broken they appear, are unreachable in that moment? This video is your mirror and your map. We'll unveil 9 distinct types of people. Those who, beneath layers of pain, pride, or pretense, aren't ready or willing to be helped. Understanding these personalities might just save your spirit from fatigue and your kindness from being misused. Let's begin with the first, the self-centered. Imagine this: you're bubbling with excitement about an upcoming weekend trip. But before your joy can fully form into words, it's hijacked. They dive into tales of their own missed vacations or their perpetual lack of fun, casting a shadow over your moment. And suddenly your joy, it fades. Your moment? Overwritten. They are masters of redirecting attention, turning any spotlight into their stage. It's draining, isn't it? You want to help them grow, help them see past the mirror they cling to. But the truth is simple and often painful. You can't shift someone who doesn't believe they're stuck. Sometimes the most powerful step forward is the one where you quietly step back. When your words feel like whispers in a storm, maybe it's time to seek calmer skies. The Stoics taught us, 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's nature's hint. We're meant to listen more than we speak. But what if you're always listening and no one listens back? It's a bold act of love to walk away from those who only hear themselves. But it might be the only way your own voice can echo freely. Let's keep going. The next type might surprise you even more. So let's ease from the self-centered into another type that's just as resistant to help. Those who hide behind illusions of their own making. These are people who craft little stories about themselves and cling to them, not out of malice, but out of fear of the truth. Picture someone who insists they're always right, even in the face of clear defeat. They lose a game and still boast, "I'm the best." It's not arrogance, it's avoidance. Like a child covering their eyes thinking you can't see them, they build imaginary walls to protect their ego from crumbling. But here's the problem. You can't renovate a house if the owner swears it's already a palace. You try to help, gently pointing out what's real and what's not, but they argue even with facts as plain as daylight. Helping them is like speaking truth to a wall. There's no echo, just silence. The Stoics had a phrase for this. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And how true that rings. These people trap themselves in stories spun from fear, not fact. Then come the ones who never admit their mistakes. Imagine a ship drifting. Without a compass, its captain blaming the stars rather than taking the wheel. That's how these folks live. Mistakes are always someone else's fault. Missed the interview? Must have been the bus? Relationship failed? Blame the partner. But never a glance inward. To guide someone like that is to wade through muddy waters, hoping they'll one day see their own reflection. It's frustrating, like teaching a cat to swim. Some storms aren't yours to weather, and the more you try, the more you risk being pulled in. The Stoics remind us, we control our actions, not theirs. And when your energy drains faster than your kindness flows, it might be time to walk away. Now, what about those who simply drift, full of talent, but with no map for the future? Watching them is like staring at a beautiful book that's never opened. The pages, full of promise, gather dust. They have everything. The soil, the seeds, the sunshine, but they won't plant. Not out of laziness, but out of indecision, fear, or perhaps hope that someone else will do the digging. Yet the future doesn't wait. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. When we harness our gifts and start moving, we not only shape our destiny, we inspire others to do the same. But when someone refuses to pick up their tools, their potential becomes a whisper that fades with time. Helping these individuals means reminding them gently but firmly that action is the bridge between now and tomorrow. That standing still might feel safe, but it's quietly dangerous. For where there's no direction, anxiety takes root. Ready to meet the next type? They focus so tightly on life's shadows, they can't see the light even when it's right in front of them. Let's move further from the drifting dreamers to those anchored in a darker place, people who live under a constant cloud of negativity. They're not just having a bad week. They carry gloom like it's stitched into their skin. Every conversation with them becomes a gentle descent into despair. Talk about money? They're broke. Mention family, chaos, work, always a mess. You offer solutions. You bring hope. Yet, somehow, your encouragement is met with new complaints, like rain falling through a sieve. It doesn't stick. It's not that they want to be miserable. They're just too familiar with their own discontent to know anything else. The Stoics offered us this mirror. He who laughs at the human race leaves it better than he found it, while he who mourns for it leaves it just as broken. Dwelling in darkness doesn't make us deeper. It often just makes us stuck. Trying to shift their mindset feels like tuning a guitar that refuses to hold a note. You strain, adjust, retry, but the harmony never comes. Some people don't want a new melody. They just want someone to listen to their offbeat tune, and that's the turning point. Are you helping or just absorbing? The saying is clear: the more you complain, the less you obtain. Energy is precious. Offer it to those who see your support not as a crutch, but as a step. Sometimes time itself is the only teacher they'll ever hear. Then we meet the blame casters, the ones who refuse to hold the mirror. For them, the fault is always elsewhere. Mistakes? That's someone else's doing. Missed a chance? Bad luck or bad people? Never them. Helping them feels like trying to turn a ship that insists it's sailing fine right toward the rocks. The truth, though hard, is this: growth begins the moment we stop blaming and start asking, what was my part in this? Imagine a basketball player who blames every missed shot on the wind but never practices harder. They won't improve until they stop pointing fingers and start lifting themselves. Life's best lessons don't come easy. And for some, it takes losing a job or a friend, or the weight of repeated failure, to finally pause and reflect. But when they do, real change can begin. And now we arrive at one of the toughest ones to help: the self-entitled. These are the ones who walk as if the world owes them something, simply for showing up. Their expectations are grand, but their efforts, minimal. They believe praise should come without effort, that doors should open with charm alone. And when life doesn't hand them what they expect, they feel wronged, not humbled. You might offer help, advice, even kindness, but with them, it often feels one-sided. They take, you give, and in the end, you're the one left drained. It's not until life holds up a mirror, often painfully, that they may begin to see the truth. When the applause fades, when the favors stop coming, when generosity turns into silence, only then might they face the echo of their own entitlement. The Stoics would urge us to be grateful for what we have, not angry over what we lack. Helping those lost in entitlement means encouraging them to earn, not expect. But until they're ready to hear that, you might only be feeding the illusion. Now, brace yourself. The next and final type is the hardest to recognize and perhaps the most haunting. They wear no mask, raise no red flags, and yet they may leave the deepest scars. Let's now meet the quietest resistance, the kind you almost miss. After all the noise of blame, negativity, and entitlement, this one hides behind politeness, behind routine. Those who simply resist learning or change. Take Tom, for instance. He's that colleague who's been at the same desk for years, doing things exactly the same way. Suggest a better method? He smiles, nods, and goes right back to how I've always done it. It's not anger, not even arrogance. It's fear disguised as familiarity. Helping someone like Tom feels like trying to teach a cat to swim. You can offer floaties, instructions, encouragement, but they're just not getting in the water. And that's the thing. Change demands. More than information, it demands willingness. The Stoics were clear. When someone is satisfied with what's been done, they can unknowingly block the way forward. True progress requires the courage to leave the comfort zone behind and say, maybe there's a better way. But you can't dig up a seed to see if it's growing. You can't force awakening by sheer will. Sometimes the only help you can offer is example, living your truth boldly enough that one day they might ask, how did you get there? And in the waiting, you grow. You evolve. You keep sharpening your own tools, expanding your own mindset. Because being a light means standing firm, even when others choose to sit in the dark. So if any part of this journey has echoed within you, pause, breathe, and notice where in your own life you've tried too hard to fix, to push, to save. Maybe it's time to let go of some of that weight. Maybe it's time to trust that some lessons are meant to unfold without your hands on them. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, there's a deeper order, a logos, that guides us all. The wisdom of the Stoics wasn't about control. It was about alignment. Living well doesn't mean changing everyone else. It means knowing how to stand still in your truth, even when the world won't move with you. If this touched something in you, share it with someone who's tried to help too much. Or take a quiet moment and ask yourself, who am I still trying to rescue? And what would happen if I stopped? No pressure, just presence, no forcing, just understanding. And if you're ready to go deeper, to sharpen your mind the Stoic way, there's another story waiting for you. Just one click away. Stay curious, stay kind, stay stoic.